Good morning students, this is your science teacher Akansha Bhadola and today we are going to discuss some of the important topics of chapter number 9. In our previous class we have studied about so many different habitats like about deserts and mountains and how the plants and animal in that area are able to survive in those areas. Okay, like in mountain animal, how do the mountain animal survive in the cold conditions of the mountains and how the desert animal survive. So now today we are going to discuss some of the topics like grassland. So we are going to discuss about the habitat grassland. So in grassland we will be mainly discussing about two animals like lion and tiger. So here lion and deer, how lion and deer are adapted to the condition of grassland. See, first the color. The color of the lion is light brown in color so that they can hide behind the bushes and they can catch their prey easily. वो अपने शिकार को easily पकड़ सके. Alright, and the eyes of the lion are in the front of their face, like in front of their face. So when they want to, they get a clear indication of the position of their prey. अपने prey का, अपने शिकार का direct indication वो ले सके. Okay, lion ज़्यादा अपना head move नहीं करते, they don't move their head much, so their eyes are in front of their face, so they can directly indicate the correct position of their prey. Okay, now if we talk about deer, the color of deer is also light brown so that it can hide from its predators. अपने शिकारियों से ये बच सके, छुप सके, and the deer have very strong teeth so that they can eat the harsh and the hard grass of the grassland. Its teeth are very strong to chew its food very easily, and it has long ear. The deer has very long ear so that it can hear a slight noise in the grassland. As in grassland there are so many dry leaves, so when someone is coming from behind, alright, so it can listen the noise, the very minute feeble noise with the help of its long ear. So it can survive in the grassland from different predators like lion, tigers and all. And it has eyes. The eyes of a deer is situated on the sideways. It's like if it's the head and the eyes are on the side of the head. Unlike us, unlike the lions, which like we are having our eyes in our front, so our view is not that much widened. But if the eyes are here, the view of the deer is so wide that it can watch in so many directions without even actually moving its head. So because of its long ear and the situation and the position of the eyes, it can be very vigil in the grassland so that it can survive. It is very attentive, even as it can catch a slight noise, and its view is very broad so that it can easily see the predators. So these are some of the adaptation of the grassland animals. Now next we will be now all the terrestrial. We have discussed all the terrestrial habitats. Now we are moving on to the next habitat, which is aquatic habitat. Now there are so many aquatic habitats. See, aqua means water. So the habitat which has water like ocean, river, lakes, ponds, rivers, all of these seas, all of these are aquatic habitats. So we will discuss some of these aquatic habitats. So first we are going to discuss about ocean. See, in ocean, as I have told you, like the fishes that live in ocean, they have streamlined body so that they can float easily in water. The streamlined body is the body which is thicker in the middle and tapers at the end. These are the streamlined bodies. Okay, so fishes have a streamlined body. Now some of the animals which do not have a streamlined body, for example like octopus. These animals live at the bottom of the ocean. They generally live at the bottom of the ocean, like behind there are rocky bottom, there are plants, and all these animals live like octopus live at that side. But when it wants to catch its prey, and if it is running from someone, it adjusts its leg in a streamlined position. For example, it makes its body in a streamlined manner. When an octopus wants to swim very fast in water, it, for example, it is the head, just imagine, like, it is just a general example. It arranges its all leg in a streamlined manner. In a streamlined manner, it arranges its body in a streamlined manner so that it can swim very fastly through the water. So when it wants to run faster, it arranges its body in a streamlined manner so that it can move easily. Other animals, and one more thing, all these things like fishes, all of these animals have gills so that they can breathe underwater. They have gills so that they can breathe underwater. But there are some other animals also, like whales, like dolphins. They don't have gills. What do they have? They don't have gills. And what is the thing they have? They have blowholes. For example, whales and dolphins, they mainly swim near the surface of water. As you have seen a dolphin jumping out of water, it is because they come out of water because they take oxygen directly from the air with the help of their blowholes. On whales, it is on the back side, and on dolphin, it is on the I think it is on the head of the dolphin, where is the blowhole indicated, where is the blowhole present, so that they can take the oxygen from that. That's why they always swim near the surface of water. So at any time they need oxygen, they can jump out of water and they take it from the air directly. Alright, and these animals can also survive underwater for a very long period of time. For some certain time they can live underwater without breathing, and at the very time they need oxygen, they came near the surface and then they take oxygen from there. So they usually float near the surface. They usually swim near the surface of water. Dolphins and whales, they have blowholes. So I hope it is clear to you. Next aquatic habitat we are going to discuss is ponds and lakes. See, ponds and lakes have stagnant water. The water doesn't move here. So the plants you have seen usually, some of the plants here are like this. The stem is in the water till the surface, and then roots are attached at the bottom, and the leaves and the plant is on the surface. ऐसे आपने देखी होगी. So here the roots, the main function of the root in the aquatic plant is just to hold them. The main function is to hold the plant at a particular position. Unlike the terrestrial plant, जैसे terrestrial plants में होता है, the main function of root is to absorb the nutrients from the soil, which help the plant to grow bigger. But here the main function of the root is to hold the plant at the point. And their stems are very long, hollow and very thin. The stem, जो stems होती है वो hollow होती है अंदर से, and they are very soft and very thin. The stem. Some plants are completely submerged in water. Some aquatic plant जो कि पानी के अंदर होते हैं, their leaves, उनकी leaves जो है ribbon like structures में होती हैं, जो पूरी तरह से अंदर होते हैं. The leaves are ribbon like and long leaves are there, so that water can easily pass through them without damaging the leaves. अगर leaves के बीच में बहुत सारा space है, there are so many space between the leaves so that water can easily pass through it. Water can easily pass through the plants without damaging the plant. So these are some of the adaptation of the aquatic plants. Now, aquatic animals. The most common, we can say, is frog. We will talk about frog. Frog can live both on land and water. That's why it is an amphibian. It can live both on land and water. Frog, the leg muscle of the frog are very strong. Leg muscles are very strong. That's why it can jump to a longer distance, because its leg muscles are very, very strong. Another thing is that the feet of a frog are webbed. Frog have webbed feet. Webbed like this. If the feet are in this manner, for example, they will create there is a thin layer between. So they work so that it helps the frogs to swim easily in water. For example, the leg is like that, and there is a thin layer between the fingers, we can say that, so that it can swim easily in water. I know many of you have seen a frog at the time of rainy season swimming in a small pond or some structure like that. So it has webbed feet which makes it unable to swim easily into the waters, and secondly the leg muscles are very strong. So I hope it is clear to you, the legs and paws. Now we are going to move on to the another topic, which is characteristics of living organism. Now the topic is characteristic of organism. Here we are going to learn about different characteristics, different qualities of living organism, that how can we distinguish whether an organism is living or non-living. How can we distinguish? How can we say that yes it is living and yes it is non-living? So if we talk about movement as in how can one thing move from one place to another place, alright. So we also say that plant, as we all know that plant is living, plant are living creatures. Okay, so if we talk about movement, so we will talk about two things, plant, and the other things are your car, buses, trains, okay, all such kind of things. So when we talk about plants, is it possible for a plant to move from one place to another? That, for example, you have kept a tree, a pot, you have kept a small plant, a tiny plant in your balcony, and after some time you will see it on your terrace. Is it possible? No, it isn't, because plants do not move from one place to another. Plants don't move from one place to another. Okay, alright. So next, car, buses, trains. They can move from one place to another. Car, buses, train, they can move from one place to another, but they are non-living. So on the basis of movement, we cannot say that the things which are moving are living and the things which are not moving are non-living. This is not a measure. So how can we decide? And same as we talk about growth, as you can say, living organism can grow and non-living organism cannot grow. But have you seen clouds? After continuous evaporation of water, after continuous evaporation and condensation, the clouds become bigger and bigger. So the clouds are growing. Okay, but clouds are non-living. So how can we say that something is living or something is non-living? So there are some certain specific characters. Now we will discuss about them one by one. So the first topic under this heading in your book is, do all organisms eat, or do all organisms require food? So we will talk about food first. Okay, food. All the living organisms require food, both plants and animals. Animals require food, as you all know that human being, we eat food. We eat three meals per day and snacks in between, which are uncountable, but we eat food. Second, plants. Plants also eat food. Plants prepare their food during the process of photosynthesis. During the process of photosynthesis, plants prepare food for themselves. So every living organism, whether it is a small bug or a big elephant, everyone require food. So it is the characteristic that the thing which require the things which require food are living organism, the organism which require food. Okay, all right. So food. Second is about growth. Yes, second is growth. All the living creatures grow. For example, you are now in 6th standard. 1 year back you were in 5th, and 1 year forward, and if you move 1 year forward, you will be in class 7. So you are growing. First you were little baby, and now you are grown up kid, and after some time you will be an adult, and after some time you will be an old man or woman. Okay, so everything grows gradually. Alright, same thing happened with the plants, they also grow gradually. So how can we say that? So we can say that the things which grow consistently, which grow regularly, consistently, are called living organism. But there is one exception, as I have told you before. Some things, like for example cloud is there, which is indeed a non-living thing, but it still grows. So cloud is an exception for that, and it has been asked so many times that name one thing which is a non-living thing but still it can grow. So cloud is an example for that. Alright, so I hope you understand this clearly. Topic we are going to discuss, which are about the characteristic of organism, is respiration. Every single living organism do respire. Okay, it does respiration, whether it is plant or animal. Plant also respire and animal also respire. Animals take in oxygen during the process of respiration and release carbon dioxide. Okay, respiration is the process which gives us energy. The complete process gives us energy. Now some people get confused between respiration and breathing. What is the difference between respiration? Respiration is the complete process, that how oxygen gets into our body, how it gets absorbed by the blood, how it gives energy to each and every single cell of our body. So the complete process is respiration, that how we get energy via this process, how we get energy. And another thing is breathing. Breathing just means to exhale and to inhale. To inhale oxygen and to exhale carbon dioxide. This is just breathing. So if someone asks you what is the difference between breathing and respiration, then you have to tell that respiration is the complete process and breathing is just a part of respiration. So I hope it is clear to you. Another thing is that, like human being, we have a special organ to respire. We have a nose to respire. Okay. Other animals for example, earthworm. Earthworm doesn't have any kind of a specialized organ for breathing. It doesn't have any kind of nostrils or a mouth by which it can breathe, but it breathes with the help of its skin. You have seen an earthworm, all the time it has a moist skin. So earthworm breathes with the help of its skin. Earthworm breathes with the help of its skin. And there are other animals like fishes. Fishes breathe with the help of their gills. So different animals have different kind of structures in their body for their breathing process. And plants, how do the plants breathe? At the daytime, plants do the process of photosynthesis, as I have told you previously in the last chapter, that at the daytime plants do the process of photosynthesis. They take in carbon dioxide and they release oxygen. But at the night time, plant do the respiration like we do. They take in oxygen and they release carbon dioxide. But comparatively, the oxygen they produce during the process of photosynthesis is very large in amount as they take during the process of their respiration. जो वो रिलीज करते हैं ऑक्सीजन एट द डे टाइम इज वेरी लार्ज, वो बहुत ज़्यादा अमाउंट में होता है इन कंपैरिजन टू जितना वो यूज करते हैं. सो एवरी लिविंग क्रिएचर, वेदर इट इज प्लांट और एनिमल, डू रेस्पिरेशन. So it is also the characteristic of living organism that they do respiration. So I hope this topic is clear to you. We will discuss some of the remaining topics of this chapter in our next class. Till then, stay safe and stay home. Thank you.